Hey folks, welcome to the art classes here with Corey and Enoch. Enoch's been learning. So welcome, and today we're still learning how to draw with graphite pencil. I'm going to use my Blackwing pencil today, and we've got our erasers and shading stump, and we have a similar composition as last week, but this time we have a transparent baby food jar, and we have a tube of red oil paint. So this is a permanent red purple. And we are gonna draw both of these today. And this presents new challenges. I thought we would look at what it's like to try to draw something that's transparent. It can be a really fun thing to attempt to draw, and when you finally achieve transparency, when you learn how to convey and translate that onto paper, you can really have some neat effects with it. So we're going to learn about that. Of course, Enoch is going to be learning how to observe, and this is what everything we're doing right now is learning how to observe, learning how to take what you see, put it on paper. There are techniques, there are different things, and we'll get into these things, in time. But right now, we're learning how to observe and to train the eye to pick up on subtle variations in tone, value. We're focusing on light and shadow, and so we've got highlights here, and these are going to be very important when Enoch is drawing his glass, to focus on these highlights. You've got highlights that come through way down here on the back side, but they're still going to be important to be able to convey that. And this highlight here is much brighter than these highlights down here, but it's passing through and it's reflecting on the back side there. And you get some neat texture, with the light coming through on the cloth. And so, and then you can paint the tube. You can see the tube right through it. And I put that behind there because that's going to give him the ability to create the illusion of transparency more than if there was nothing behind it. So it'll, it's a challenging exercise, and that's kind of my purpose. I know he's still learning, and all of you are still learning. I'm still learning, and so this is a good practice for everyone, me as well. And I don't do enough of this personally either. I spend a lot of my time on the paintings that I paint, and I don't get enough time even myself to study these days. So I've been enjoying just the same, and learning and honing my own skills. And you'll probably notice, even as I go, mine may get better and better. I may get faster and faster, because your hand begins to learn and to remember. And so this is all about building muscle memory and exercising his ability to use his muscles in his hands and fingers. So again, we're going to focus on the plane. We're going to focus on depth of field here, and how to observe the light passing through the transparent glass. That's the main purpose of this episode, is to see how we can create the illusion of transparency there. So let's get started. Let's see how Enoch does today. So again, I would start off very soft, very light, with a hard lead. There you go. And you know, this doesn't have, I mean, hardly any foreseeable lines. Like you know, it's a lot of light touch. And so what you're going to emphasize really is the tube of paint behind it. You know, the cap. You know, it's all going to add to the illusion. And so, you know, getting, you know, painting surface or drawing surfaces like this can be challenging, a challenging illusion to actually make it look like it's sitting on your piece of paper. So you want to be careful, not, you know, your temptation is going to be to make this circle here, your temptation is going to be make it more of like a circle like you have in your mind. And so you really need to consider the depth of field that you're working with here to create the illusion there. Yeah, so let's see how you do. Why don't you go ahead and get started, and let's see. And for me, again, this is just one pencil, so I'm not going to have a variation of pencils to use. So I'll be focusing on just utilizing this with just some pressure. I don't know exactly what the Blackwing number grade is. You know, this is their matte, so it doesn't really tell me whether it's 2B, 4B, anything like that. It feels kind of close to a 2B pencil generally when I use it. It may be between 2 and 4, but I like them. This is a sharpener for Blackwing pencils. They have a different, it's kind of got a curve here, so they can tend to have a little bit longer graphite points. And at some point today, I'd like to help you guys see what I'm talking about when I use my pencil to get an angle. Yeah? So what am I doing here? Well, I am translating the angle where I can see these. So I've got this red line wrapped around, okay? So they come up to a point there and a point here, right? So where do those point, what angle are those points at? And this can help me to get the angle that I need, right? So I'll move that a little bit, and I was pretty close already. And caps and things, you know, things like this can have, you know, a lot of interesting highlights, like there, and this, you know, change of, you know, over here it's very different. You know, it's got a surface here, but over here it's, you know, you've got to pay a lot of attention to the subtleties there. And it uses a lot of tonal gradation there, like we practiced on that square, you know. And, you know, it just depends on how detailed you want to get. You don't have to get detailed. You can be more sketcherly. I like detail. I don't always try to overly detail everything. Okay, so got a bit of my outline there. So I'm just using, remember what we learned in the first episode, or maybe the second episode, about value. So you want to practice your shading, yeah, as well as your observation. So the color of this band around the jar is red. So it's not going to be our highlight, right? So I don't really want to leave any part of it white necessarily. So I may have to adjust some of my darks for that, because it's not white. It's red, so the color red is going to have particular value or tone. So I'm just kind of slowly kind of figuring that out. I'm going to extend this a little bit here. I'm actually going to extend some of this here as well. Add to some of the darks. And again, I'm just lightly, softly adding, taking my time. Give that a nice feeling. And so then, I've got these arrows up here, which the arrows up here are red. I don't know if you can see that in the video, but they're red. And it's got little writing on it. I'm not going to worry about all that. But there's a change in the plane, right? So the red here that I'm doing, it's lighter than the red here where it goes up a little bit. So I want to make sure that is darker. And this will all play into the illusion that we're trying to create of a jar sitting on a table. It's transparent. Alright, so I've kind of got my cap where I like it, or where I want it. There's a nice sense of a plane. And, now I can kind of I'm going to work my way down a little bit from the jar. Again, I'm not trying to get into too much detail, too crazy with the detail, but just enough to give you a sense of the jar. So I'm coming down here. Transparency can be very tricky. So let's see how we do. And glass can have all kinds of, inconsistencies in it, ripples, and, it can really make the light and the shadows do some interesting things. So I've got a line though here, where the jar, is kind of manipulating the background, but it's clearly a new plane, right? So you've got this plane comes this way, and then you've got, so this is one plane here, and then it's going to curve down, right? I've got a decent darkish line back there. I'm going to make this line a little darker on my tin cap. And again, this is an area that's delicate. We've got our highlights in here, and so we really want to make sure we've got some nice clean area for highlights. And really this is a good time that you could utilize either your finger or the shading stump, and just give yourself, this paper I have is not perfectly white. His paper is whiter than mine, so that's kind of nice sometimes. But what I would do is take my finger and probably just begin to bring some tone to everything here, all the glass, right? So just kind of give it some tone, make it look a little darker. And so I did that, and then I can begin to bring in some more darks. Make this a little bit darker. Come down here, right? This could be a little darker, I think. Yeah. So I'm gonna come in here. How's it going? You gonna start? You gonna do it? You get your glass going? I think you got it. Your jar looks fine. Don't worry about, it looks fine. But you got to observe here. This is what you got to observe, Enoch. Don't observe mine. It's fine to watch me, but you don't want to observe mine. You want to observe the jar. You want to make it look like that jar so much as you're able to. And that will help you. So we are just, again, trying to create the illusion of transparency, jar, with the oil paint behind it, okay? So I'm about to finish up with the class, and this was not meant to be a terribly long lesson, but at least want to see how you guys would do with some transparency. It's a really, it's a good exercise, it's a fun exercise, and it's always good to kind of challenge what where you think you are and what you think you can do with your level of observation, see where we're at, and kind of go from there. I'll be able to learn more of where Enoch's at, what he's learning, what he's able to observe with every lesson, and try to figure out kind of what he needs particularly as well. and everyone is at different stages, different levels, and my desire, my job is wanting to help Enoch and help whoever is watching go from being a beginner to advancing, and even as children, maturing in their ability to draw, maybe even beyond their own years, if possible. And so I'm just kind of trying to feel this out and see where everyone's at. And here my jar meets the cloth. And so, again, I would be probably smoothing certain things out here. There's some nice texture in the glass coming in through here. And then, of course, we have the highlight here that I really like. I didn't know. So we've got these highlights that are in this area. And just trying to preserve them. Again, I don't have super bright paper, so highlights, aren't as bright, but that's okay. And if I want to do some neat things, like, there's some neat texture over the glass that kind of comes down over here. So, I can come with this eraser and I can make some neat kind of shapes that will make this feel more transparent, and as it distorts and changes what's behind it, glass distorts everything. And so So these are good exercises. Again, it's not perfect, but it helps us to grow and learn as we learn how to observe and how to translate what we see onto paper. Any final question, Enoch?
I don't think so.
No? Okay. And one of these episodes will show you some of the finalized work that Enoch has done, and and where he's going, how he's progressing lesson to lesson. Because it's important to progress and to learn. So I think that's enough for today, and Enoch's gonna keep working, and maybe we'll post some pictures of the final products as well. So again, thanks for joining with us and taking time to follow along. Again, you can make your own setup at home. You don't have to draw a transparent baby bottle. You can make your own composition, but it's nice to be able to follow along at some rate and do something similar. Again, there's things of this I would change. It's just very quick, trying to just give you guys an idea, of where we're going. But Enoch's doing really good right here, right now. He's not going to do things as fast as me as well, because he's just learning. So, but I'm going to see how he progresses here. But what's important for him is, because this is really nice, you see how he's starting to apply what I was trying to tell him here about creating this illusion. It's getting very nice, and he could start to use this and bring in the more of the glass feel here. So yeah, but he's doing very well. It's looking very nice. He can bring in some more shadows with the glass here and straighten up this bottom part. But it's looking very nice, and he's learning. We'll give you an update on the progress as soon as we can. Again, thanks a lot for joining us, and we'll see you guys soon.